Good morning, everybody. I am very excited about this panel. I was honored to be asked to moderate it. And I'm happy I'm moderating because if I were to be asked some of the prepared questions, I would probably have you here all day. So I'm glad that they're going to be joining me here on stage. So please come on up. Wouter, Pedro, and Miguel. I guess we're going to sit. You know, that's probably more comfortable. I'm short, so I still have hopes that I'll be someday a little bit taller. Okay, so today we're going to get started. I'm going to have it pretty casual. We've got some prescribed questions. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. 1 minute. So a quick introduction, of course, is going to take a little bit more. I got to keep my eye on the clock. But 1 quick minute introduction. And if you can kick us off with what is one belief that you think is maybe a little bit controversial as far as the ecosystem here? What's preventing us from being a thriving ecosystem? 1 minute.
We already lost 9 minutes on the clock. Did you see that? They still have time.
I know, we got, yeah, I know.
Gotta get it back. Hi, my name is Wouter. For Portuguese, it's Walter. For other people, just try to make something out of it. It's impossible. It's really Dutch. I'm one of the founders of the COREangels Algarve Fund. We are a group of angel investors. We invest in the Algarve. So it's quite simple. That's a simple way to explain what we do, Miguel. Doing it is more complex. I think we just talk about it, but I think what might be a blocking thing is aiming for only the highest. If you have a unicorn as a goal, 99.99% will fail. And if you don't think you have a chance to succeed because that's your goal, why do you start? So if you set your goals a bit realistic, then you might succeed. And that might give you the energy to grow. And yeah, unicorns, they don't exist.
Good one.
Hi, I'm Pedro. First of all, thanks for the invite, and I'm very happy to be here in the Algarve. I'm a general partner at Shilling. Shilling is as a VC, so we're the bad guys on the block. Used to be an engineer, worked a few years in research and development, then started a company with some colleagues. I had to explain to my friend what the heck is the internet, so it was a while back. And then it went very well. We got acquired by Sonai, and at the early stage of the mobile industry, and became part of that corporate adventure. Stayed there for 12 years, which is not very common for a founder when it's bought to stay so long. But then was full of it and came back to the ecosystem, built a few angel clubs, and then joined Shilling. I'm not a founder of Shilling, but been doing this for 15 years now. And so on your challenge, I would say that it doesn't matter where you build. It's about who you build it for that is important. And for us, if you're not building something for a large part of the world, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there are other ways to grow, and VCs are very, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it'll be a long conversation.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, Miguel from Dengun.
Do you actually need to introduce yourself?
I think
I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
Yeah. I came to the Algarve 20 years ago from Macau. I fell in love with this place and I wanted to build tech companies here. And it's a very proud moment to be here with this full room with so many friends, people from all over the world that came to the Algarve to build with knowledge and talent and contacts and money to invest, and with these nice people, Wouter, a new Algarvian pulling for the future of the Algarve like so many others. So if we need to do something, it's more of this, in my opinion. But the most important is we do need to change the mindset in Portugal and in Europe. We need to be more entrepreneurial. We need to teach kids that they can build things, they can create things for the future, and we need to create jobs of the future. If not, no one will stay here. Knowledge won't stay here, we'll get brain drain, and we will never get the flywheel spinning in creating more value from Portugal, emerging regions to the world. Sorry, it was a long one.
No, that was great. And I mean, to be honest, this is how I'm here and always grateful. Miguel and a couple of other folks in this ecosystem, I think that, of course, we're all here, right? You know, a lot of people are not even from here. A lot of people have traveled here. A lot of people now live here, right? So we want to create a thriving place so that we can have our own opportunities for ourselves, but also for our next generations, right? And some things will need to be challenged. It's not easy, right? And so that's the part that I think, you know, we all need to take that challenge away. Algarve to the world, we have a lot of things that are very great here, so we need to be able to encompass that. So, okay, so let's move on to, I wanted to talk a little bit and ask a questions around what does it take from early stage to angel, to seed, to Series A? And maybe we can kick it off by defining what does early stage look like? What are those metrics for each individual here who comes from a different background? But, you know, is there a standard definition? What does it mean? And how do we get to the next level? Whoever wants to take it next.
Well, I can take the
Please.
the more academic, or let's say industry view. For us, early stage is everything that has not reached the stage where you have a replicable and predictable sales machine. So everything that's behind that, it's still early stage, I would say. Then we define, we have a split between seed and pre-seed. The frontiers are blurred. Yes. But for a VC fund, a pre-seed is something that has not yet found product market fit, is still looking for it, and probably zero revenue for a long time. But we're at that stage, we are mostly focusing on the team and investing on the team and what we believe they will be able to build. On seed stage, there is some signs of product market fit, and then you just have to find your go-to-market.
So do you define product market fit as you've got some revenue?
No, I would say product market fit is people are loving what you're building, or there are signs that people love what you're building. They might be not paying for it. Yet. Paying is a good sign, of course, but
paying
sometimes
is key.
you have,
we just learned from Reimer.
Right.
Free is easier, let's say. It's not always the case that you want to start charging, because if you want to grow very fast, it's easier to go
right. Maybe your hook. You're giving your free as you're free for now, right? And then
and free is also good for one thing that he was saying, that hear your customers, learn how to listen, and putting it out and seeing what gets used and what doesn't is a very important thing.
Cool. Yeah, it's what we do is we are building within the ecosystem of the Algarve. So for us, we want to have thriving businesses. They have to grow, they have to hire people, create jobs, hire new people. Because then people who are joining an early stage startup and they see how that works, they might be the next entrepreneur. And then the early stage is for me at least, the moment you have something that you think you can sell and you actually sell. Mm-hmm. I think selling something is key, because for free, if I would now use AI, build a tool and ask to this crowd, who wants to try this for free? So the revenue is key, and for us, the scaling is, I think, on a different. We also need companies to have a scalable business model, a scalable product, but I think, on a different level for this moment, because we are in a young ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you. Great, great analogies and explanations. So 5 years ago, I started a journey trying to understand what a venture studio or a startup studio was. It felt like the right thing. So it's like developers, engineers, marketeers, money, and a playbook to go from an idea or beginning of an idea to something that has product market fit, light validation sales, that I would like to call it. And it was very hard because I didn't understand VC ecosystem, early stage investment. And today, I think that there is 80-70% of the market, it's in later stage VC. You need sales, like validation, real validation that people are loving your product. And then you get 30-20% that would be core angels and other kind of angel groups that invest in earlier tickets. If you have a pitch deck, if you have an idea, harder. And then there are the crazy ones. And those, we have some in the room. Dave is hiding there. And others that invest because they know and they believe in people, even probably earlier. We have Wouter, we have Laurent, that I don't know if it's in the room. The thing is, they're here today. There were no one like this in the Algarve 20 years ago, and me, Vasco, that I see there, that we tried to start a company, and how do we do it? From mentoring and getting that early ticket. And that's super important. We need to get better entrepreneurs, but we also need to get these, crazy ones, and then the core angels, the business, the associations, and then the follow-on to the VCs. So it took me too long because I was talking to investors and I didn't know if is this a VC, what is his investment thesis, where does he invest from, what does he want, what's core angels and other business angel associations, what's early stage. So that is how I would kind of organize it in my mind after 5 years trying to understand this. So it took me too long to get it.
No, it took you perfect timing. And I think that, again, kudos on sticking to the agenda, because the caliber of people that we have here today weren't here before. And I think it goes back to the earlier question around what must change, right? So early stage, some of them may be crazy, some of them may be amazing, some of them may make sense right away, but some of them may be too far-fetched. But at the end of the day, that early stage is, high risk, but also high reward. And I think that, going back to the earlier question of what is maybe needing to change, and in addition to that, I'll turn the question back to you, but I think that as a Canadian and North American, where I see different failure is, an example. In Canada, failure is seen as failure. Oh, you failed. As for the US, you failed. Okay, let's build it again, and let's build it better and incorporate those learnings. And so culturally speaking, I see Portuguese much more conservative, going, oh, I don't want to fail, so I'm not going to take that chance. And so those types of thinking and mindset needs to change a little bit. Of course, nobody wants to fail. But when you get used to failing once and learn and apply those learnings going forward, that is actually super, super valuable. But, on that topic, I'll ask the question to you guys again. What do you think about that failure aspect, and how do we support the failure so that we can say, it's okay, we'll help you again. Let's apply that mistake. So,
well, the funny thing is, and about being controversial, I love the fact that we have Trump. Because, and the fact that in the US, they love to fail. Actually, we, from Europe, we were there. We went there. So it's us over there, but we evolved in a different way. So it's in our DNA to explore, to go out, to fail. Yesterday, I spoke briefly about the naval history that the Dutch and the Portuguese, we ruled the world.
Mm.
That was not in one go. I think 99% of the ships failed. And now with our friend Trump on the other side, he is basically showing we are not to be trusted. So mind your own business. So for us in Europe, we have to build our own stuff. We need our own financing. We should not be reliable on VCs from the US who are more aggressive and buying the best companies we have in Europe.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
and that's where VCs and we go together.
Good point.
So now that a lot of Americans are coming back because of Trump, we might get our own.
Yeah. True.
We might come together again.
Love it.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, culturally, we're in the general population, more averse to failure than probably Americans, and I guess Canadians are somewhere in between. But I mean, entrepreneurship and at least VC, it's an outlier business. We are not looking at the general mass. We're more looking for the outliers. And to be honest, failure works as a plus for us. I mean, previous experience, because I mean, everyone knows that you learn a lot more when you fail or when you have adversity than when everything goes all right. So in general, when we look at profiles, and that's where we typically start, is looking at the profile of founders. We tend to focus a lot on what has happened before, what's the unfair advantage that this team has from their history of failure or success. Of course, if they've succeeded, it's also a good thing, but it has some downsides also. So in general, and bringing it back to Portugal, and I'm the old guy in the fund, so I've seen a lot. I have to tell you that don't complain about the current situation. It was much worse 30 years ago. A lot has changed. We see, I mean, the current generation of founders is incredibly talented, energetic, and there's a lot more help on building faster. In my time, we had this big brand, US brand, that had one tagline that I continue to love: just do it.
Yes.
Just do it.
We still have.
And that's I mean, we see maybe 50 deals per week. That's our average. So, and we invest in 5, 10 per year, depends a little bit on the vintage, but so 99% we have to say no, but
Right.
we normally ask, prove us wrong, right? So,
Right.
so do it. It's very rare that we say it makes no sense, don't do it, because not everything is going to be VC. And I think one of the good things about the Algarve ecosystem is that we feel the energy of building, and that's the important thing.
That's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, so hard to follow. Why am I always the last one? So a story, like 4 or 5 years ago, I've been here in the Algarve thinking, how can we make this region more innovative and build companies for the future? And we've done a bunch of hackathons, ideathons, like pitch competitions, and no one appeared. There was not enough quality with the founders, and there was money, 30,000 euro prizes, and the quality was so low that I had to kind of call my friends, hey, come on, pitch in, because there's people from Lisbon coming, and this is going to be embarrassing. So where is the dough to make pizza? Where are the entrepreneurs? And then I started going to the universities to talk about entrepreneurship, and I go, hey, who wants to build a startup? 70 kids. One raised shy, very afraid his head. And for me, this is the core problem. I went home and I cried a little bit. And I said, we're doomed. I don't know how to fix this. But then I had an idea that's, what about if I convince the teacher and we do a demo day? These kids now need to pitch an idea, work together as a team, and there's going to be a fake jury and they need to pitch it. I went back to whatever I was doing. I came back 1 month later. George here and a bunch of other people helped me set these things together. And these kids were a completely different thing. They were dressed with ties, with props, pitching these things. The energy in the room was, so we are entrepreneurial. The system just kills the entrepreneurial that are inside us. And if we do not change the education system for first grade, from first grade, kindergarten to whatever it is, this will never change in Europe. It's not in Portugal. It's not in the Algarve. We have really good dough, but the system suppresses it. So it's easy to fix this. I think we can build 100 companies in the Algarve in the next 7 years. And I'm here to fight for that.
Yay! Okay, so my next question. So we've talked about, the evolving ecosystem, and we've talked about retention. How do we, my daughter, who's going to be here later today, she's in grade 11. She's grade 12 next year, and so now we're analyzing universities. And initially, I go, "Where do you want to go? What are you thinking?" And she goes, "Well, probably Lisbon or Calgary or UBC, University of Calgary." And I'm going, well, those are very different. And then there's a university here in the Algarve, right? So, that goes back to the retention part. But so there's a lot to work on that. But in a way, I go, well, are their minds already made up? So I guess question one is, how do we change their minds? And then the second question would be, how do we attract new thinking to collide with what's already here, right? And so how do we, obviously it's a beautiful place, people want to be here, but how do we make it sticky? How do we make it stay? You start.
Yeah, we won't make the same mistake again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fail and learn.
I have a chance now. I would say Algarve Tech Hub, if there is a mission for the Algarve Tech Hub, I would say that would be the mission for the future. How do we generate jobs for the future? And what are these jobs of the future in 10, 15, 20 years so that we create them here? Tourism is great. There's going to be plenty of jobs in tourism with robots and whatnot. I don't know what's going to happen, but there will still be jobs, but we need jobs of the future. It's not, we're going to continue to be brain drained. So I would say that Algarve Evolution today is a non-profit association, with some of the best Algarvians that I've ever met, people from all over the world that moved here and they want to add an impact and change the ecosystem. And like this Reimer, this awesome gentleman, and so many others. And they're here, we're working together, and there is a bottom-up kind of movement that it's getting sticky. These people, some of them stayed here, or they chose to stay here because there is an Algarve Tech Hub, because there is technology, because there's innovation. There is an ecosystem of people with a mission of trying to make the Algarve better. So we need to attract more of those, and we need to work bottom-up with education and the ones that are here to get them better and better prepared to be the entrepreneurs of the future. So Algarve Evolution and Algarve Tech Hub would be my answer.
Yeah, I love that. And also, I think you touched on something interesting, which is going back to the education system at the very early stage, right? Which is fundamentally institutional setup. So that's a challenge there for academia from the beginning.
Well, I would just a little bit on my feedback right now, and I have to be honest, I don't follow Algarve as a region, as an ecosystem, and to be honest, and I say it bluntly, communicate more.
Yep.
To be very honest, if people come to us and there's a trend of asking, well, we thinking of going to Europe or building something, where would you start? And we tend to say, well, if you're more into hardware, microelectronics, well, maybe Aveiro, Porto, because you have some ecosystem there. But we never, well, marine biology, we think about the Algarve, but there are a lot of other things that can be done here, but you have to communicate, and it has to be evident that it's not only tourism and it works all the year round. There's abundant talent, and that's where the institutional education starts. Maybe invite teachers.
Yes.
I mean, K-12 teachers that are more active.
I also think we have a brokenness between, because you're right, when I think Portugal, high level, and people ask me, so, what does it look like there, right? People often think about industry, business, Porto, right? Generally speaking. But so if knowing that over generations, why don't we cross-collaborate between Porto and Algarve, right? So we've got our own, internal country challenges that we need to turn as opportunities and be able to make that collaboration so that we're co-creating, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking. No. Something you can do if it's time. No, I think it's the next week we're all going to Lisbon. Well, many of us. And there's the Web Summit. And you spend 3 days in the Web Summit. If you have a meeting every 15 minutes, you can only meet 5% of the people. If you spend a day here, you can meet all the key players because this is what we do. So I think use your size as an advantage instead of the Calimero idea of they are all so big and I'm so small. It's an advantage to be small.
Yes.
And I think we have to invite the right people to come over, come down. Hey, let's see how an angel group can work together with Shilling, and how can we see this gap in the financing pipeline. But we don't want to be the next Lisbon.
Yeah.
We have to remain the Algarve. That's why I moved here. That's why I like it. From Amsterdam to Praia de Luz, which is complete opposites.
Yes.
And it's a strength.
When was the first time? What did you do when you come here? Can you tell the story?
The first time I was here was 20 years ago. But
To move.
the first time I was at the very first Algarve Tech Hub Summit
Hey.
in Faro, in the old beer factory, I think. And I was there as one of the few foreigners on those days. And I only got the question, why are you here? Yeah, I see opportunity. So explain.
Algarve, a vida é boa, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and actually I think there's you touched on a great point that I'm going to highlight, and that is capital stacking, right? For companies from very early stage, where small can be an advantage, including a small check, right? As an angel investor myself, I see those opportunities, whether you become a unicorn or maybe just $100 million business. I'm happy with that. That's a nice, healthy business. And so I think that advantage starts at the beginning, and we need to see that as an opportunity, but also work with the entrepreneur through to their exit, whatever that exit may be, right? And I think that's where, these gaps need to be closed. So, okay, we've got a couple more minutes left.
Do we?
2. Holy man.
Oh,
2
okay,
minutes.
30 seconds, everybody. What is the one thing, one word, no more than one sentence, that you want startups to delete from their mind by the end of the year? And what is one action that you want them to take? Miguel.
We are in a new era, especially in tech. You can build so much more as a solopreneur, lovable replits, these kind of things. Build faster with less functionalities and validate it with your market in 2 days.
Make it fast.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, make it fast is, well, you took that one. Yeah.
Damn it.
There's a point, we are at the focusing on tech, but I don't think startups are only in tech. And so look to other places also. Tech is a very good tool to help you grow faster, but there are other things, and maybe tech is an unfair advantage in that area. So focus on what you can do for people to live happier, easier, and that's the main goal. And try to build something for that. So don't wait.
Yes. Do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Yeah, well, try to get the owner of the problem you try to solve, try to get them out. Especially here, it's warm, it's dry, the infrastructure is not always good, let's put it mildly. And there is solutions from technology, but technology serves. It doesn't dictate. So, well, it should not dictate. It serves. So who are you serving? Get those out of the rooms and talk about how can we solve your problem.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.